Slovenia is shaken and shocked. Former Prime Minister Sanjin Jasar is sentenced to 2 years in jail for bribery. We're in Ljubljana, the country's capital. In front of the court building, opponents and supporters of the corrupt ex-politician shout at each other. The Jasar scandal is not an isolated case. High-level corruption is fueling public anger over the political elite and endangering trust in democratic values. The culture of nepotism in the former Yugoslav Republic has prevented necessary reforms being launched in time. The dysfunctionality of the Slovenian political decision-making process has aggravated the economic crisis, which has hit the small EU country hard.
The politicians were all stealing, all of them. Right-wing, left-wing, Jasar and Janovic, they're all corrupt.
The crisis happened because of the banks. They were run by the wrong people. They didn't respect the law, made wrong decisions.
Maybe it's not only economic crisis, but first of all, I think that is a crisis of moral values.
The small town of Tružice, near the Austrian frontier. This narrow alpine valley is covered with factories which have been shut down. Only one is still open, Pico, the famous shoemaker. But now millions of euros are needed for new machinery. The government is looking for a private investor. Workers are worried.
We'll all lose our jobs if Peko closes. We'll not be able to find any other job. There'll be nothing left.
In the past, when this was part of Yugoslavia, the company employed about 5,000 workers in Croatia, Slovenia and Algeria. In Tružice, workers produced shoes, half for export, but those times are over.
If Peko closes, it would be a real tragedy, because this is not just about Peko, it's about everything around here. The post office will close, the shops will close, the schools will close, just about everything will close, because without Peko there will be no money at all in Tružice, and everything will be without work.
Closing Peko would be a shock for us all. My wife and I both work here, and we have 2 children to feed, both still in school. The whole Tružice municipality is in very bad economic shape, and all the companies are closing down. People end up unemployed. The recent governments are to blame for this situation. Our politicians got it all wrong.
Peko's chief executive says Slovenia's government has failed to restructure in time. Production should have been outsourced eastwards years ago because labour costs are too high in Slovenia. Janez Sajovic is also on the managerial board of the Slovenian Chamber of Commerce. He stresses the country would do better by minimising the state's influence on economic decision-making.
The majority stakeholder in Peko is the Slovenian government. I've been at the helm of this company for about 2 years, and during those 2 years we've had 3 governments. And with each new government, we have to start all over again, explaining our problems again and again. And each government has had a different vision of economic development and which strategy the shoemaking company should follow.
Slovenia has the highest minimum wage of all new EU members, close to the US minimum wage, above that of Spain and Portugal. But it is still too low to make a living, says single mother Carmen. Her monthly wage, 400 euros, is topped up to the minimum wage of 783. Without her daughter's after-school job, they wouldn't survive.
In the old days of Yugoslavia, we had a really good time. Many people were working here. The pay was also good. It was possible to afford a holiday at the seaside in the summer. But today, we don't even get enough from our work to pay the bills.
Pico suppliers insist on being paid in advance well before delivery of the leather. All of Slovenia is stuck in a credit crunch. Money has become rare. For the tiniest decision, Pico management has to get approval from the capital. But is it really a government's business to make decisions about shoemaking? 15 years ago, the school for shoemakers closed. A huge mistake, Marica says, a former Pico training supervisor. Know-how disappeared, quality got worse. She's the 4th generation of shoemakers in her family.
This photo was taken in front of my grandmother's shop. My grandfather was already dead by this time, and my grandma ran the shop and oversaw the shoemaking. Here you can see two Bosnian clients that made the long trip from Bosnia to the Truzic Valley to buy shoes at our former family shoemaker shop.
Once shoemaking was the wellspring of innovation and wealth here, as we saw in the local museum. In the past, once free market rules were applied and respected, shoemaking and local development flourished.
During the 19th century, in the time of the Habsburgs, the old medieval guild system was abandoned and free trade introduced. A lot of apprentices in the Truzic Valley opened their own workshops with, at that time, innovative business ideas.
Innovation does still happen. Last year, Pico invested 300,000 euros in this machine, which makes soles. 20,000 are made every day. Pico is the market leader for soles needed for specialist footwear. Let's move to Maribor, Slovenia's second biggest city. Maribor has been hit by industrial decline and suffers from nepotism as well. It was here last November mass protests against corrupt politicians began. With success, the protest movement forced the mayor of Maribor out of office. Then protests spread all over Slovenia and toppled the Janša government. This Maribor artist squat is the headquarters of the protest movement. Jobs, work contracts, management board positions, bank loans, everything was distributed through party political networks, says the protest leader.
Our country was hijacked by the people who are now running this country, and basically in a short sentence they sold us. They basically filled their pockets, and it's a classical robbery.
The European Commission urged Slovenia to speed up privatisation and establish by September a timetable for the divestment of state shareholdings of banks. Previous governments had refused to privatise the country's three major state-owned banks, which made disastrous loans and racked up nearly 7 billion euros in bad debt. A large percentage of that went to construction firms, which went bankrupt when the property bubble burst. The country is now littered with abandoned building sites and empty flats. The banking sector suffocated. This made it difficult for 28-year-old Till and Clayman to launch their gourmet burger business. So they are trying the sustainable do-it-yourself approach. Start small, grow slow and keep clean.
After finishing university, my business partner Till and I found ourselves unemployed, so we decided to start our own business. Me and Till, we want to become famous by having the best gourmet fast food burgers, if not all over the world, at least all over Europe.
Slovenia appeared to be the poster child of the Balkans. Wrong. Politicians missed their opportunity to reform the welfare system, pensions, the labour market, banks. The European Union has given Slovenia 2 years to put its house in order, and now it's urgent.